telling all flock members, if you want to become truly elite, for just $1 a month, you too can become an elite bad bird. Check out my Patreon account. Link is in the description.
Hello there, my flock. The Badraven here. We are on part 9. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday of the Badraven Friday the 13th marathon. I'll just tell you up front, this is the New Line Cinema takeover of Jason. After the dismal performance of part 8, Jason on a boat, or Jason Takes Manhattan, which I lovingly call Jason on the Boat, as you've seen from my previous video. They didn't want to make any more movies of Jason, so they sold the rights to New Line, which is an up-and-coming movie studio at the time. So they wanted to take over the Jason franchise and breathe new life into the genre of Friday the 13th horror. And I give them kudos for trying. They they had a story that definitely took Friday the 13th in a totally different way. They tried to reinvigorate the franchise, but they kind of went overboard when they didn't put Jason basically in the movie. He's in it, and in the trailer you would think he's in all of it. But again, Kane Hodder comes back as Jason in this one. This will be the second one he was in. No, the third one. He did 7, 8, and 9, and he does 10 also. This is his third time with the mask. So I mean, he was fine. I had no problem with Kane Hodder. It wasn't his fault. But the story was totally changed from maybe the very beginning, talking about, you know, and then you had some made up stuff, but you don't know, it's all made up. But let's go into who directed this. This movie came out in 1993. I was newly married, and this movie didn't come close to me at the time. It wasn't at the local Tri-County Cineplex place that I always go to and I do a lot of my reviews on. It was located in London, Kentucky, at the Regency Cinema that I used to work at also. And I didn't want to drive all the way out there to watch it. I don't know why the Tri-County didn't show it, if it's just not much many prints, or they just didn't like it had hell in the title, and they might have been more Christian based. I don't know. But they didn't get it, and I didn't get to watch it. I was really down. The trailer looks really cool. We're talking about evil has many faces, and death has, or horror has many faces, and death wears many masks. And the last time you want to see Jason, because it was billed as the final Friday, so they really pushed that narrative that this was going to wrap up the series totally and get rid of Jason. I don't know why you would do that if you just bought the rights, but maybe they just knew it was just going to keep on extending. But anyway, it came out in 1993. The director was Adam Marcus, and I reckon he was like a 20-some-year-old new guy in there, so they gave him the reins to this, and he ran with it totally. The writing is what really hurt. I did like a lot of the special effects were done to perfection, even though there was an unrated version and a rated version. The unrated version showed all the gory scenes, and they really, really put in the manpower of practical effects of the kills. I really liked the kills. It's just Jason wasn't doing them. Jason was in other bodies. I'll get into that storyline in a second. Let me go on. Okay, the cast. I'm not going to do many people from the cast, but I'll still basically Jason D. LeMay as Stephen Freeman, Carl Keegan as Jessica Kimball, Kane Hodder, of course, as Jason Voorhees, Stephen Williams as Gretchen Duke, Aaron Gray as Diana Kimball, and that's as far as I'm going to go with it. The film opens up and it gives you right off the bat the Friday the 13th lore, because it shows a sign of a mileage thing. It's a woman in a car, and she sees the street sign that says Crystal Lake 4 miles. So it's back to Crystal Lake, which is really fun. She gets to the camp, and of course the lights don't work. She goes into a shed, she gets a new light, and it sticks with all the normal trappings of a Friday the 13th movie. She's a very pretty girl, and she's here by herself. We don't know why she's here. First thing she does is get in a shower. She strips down, has a thong on, takes off her clothes. Very attractive. Shows all that feeds right into my love of the Friday the 13th series. I know it's a family channel, but I was a teenager or a young adult once too, you know. And it really fed into that. So I thought, okay, this is going to be a good movie. Jason ends up attacking her in the house. She runs out the door in a towel that defies gravity and stays on her. To my dissatisfaction. And she runs out in the woods. Of course, Jason goes after her, and she jumps over in the bushes, and all these military, FBI, whatever you want to call them, comes out of the bushes and out of the trees, and they completely annihilate Jason, shooting him with machine guns, everything in the world, end up blowing him up. His body completely sprays everywhere, his head blows off, and they kill him. So I don't know why they didn't think of this in the first place. Evidently, Jason didn't check out the woods before he came back there, or he's getting slow in his stage as a zombie. I don't know. Anyhow, they take him to the coroner's office. The coroner is doing his basic things, talking to the tape recorder, telling all the stuff about his body and everything like that. And all of a sudden, the heart starts beating of Jason. And he looks around. It's like he's talking to him. You don't hear anything. And all of a sudden, starts eating the heart, which is totally gore fest. It's fine with me because I am a Friday the 13th fan, and that's what we enjoy. Not just gore for gore's sake, but we don't shy away from it. So somehow, when he's being eaten this heart, these light bolts come out and bust into his chest, and he starts roaring like a lion. Even though there's two cops outside his door, which one is Kane Hodder. If you look at the movie again, he plays one of the security guards. So he should be easy to pick out. They don't hear him in there screaming, the doctor, the coroner. He kills the other assistant coroner. He goes out and kills the security guard because they make fun of Jason. And as he walks by like a door or glass or something, you can see Jason's image, even though it's not Jason there. I guess they're kind of keep showing us, hey, he is Jason, even though he's got the mask on or nothing. So that's where it really loses me. I want to see Jason do his own kills, even though the kills were top-notch. They had a scene with a girl in a sleeping bag, not a sleeping bag, but with her boyfriend doing the thing that they always do in the woods in one of these movies, and he gets a post, and he goes straight through the tent into the woman's body. This is on the unrated version, I'll tell you. And he totally rips up through the middle of her body, and it shows it in the unrated version, and it's very good, a very good kill, very authentic, very graphic, very shocking at the time when I watched it. But they did a very, very good job with that. But let me go back a second. When they blew Jason up, there was a guy in the bushes, and he was the character's Creighton Duke, played by Stephen Williams, and he was at Scarefest the time I went, but I didn't get his autograph because I'm not a real lover of this movie. But Creighton Duke's out there in the woods, and he said, "Oh no, you didn't kill him for good, you know." Well, anyway, Jason gets out, starts killing people as a different person besides Jason, and he jumps into the news reporter's body. He jumps into the policeman's body. He jumps into everybody he can, and they do multiple kills. They do good kills at the diner, which is where Jason's sister or stepsister or something, half-sister is working, and we don't know anything about her. All of a sudden, she comes out of the woodwork, and he goes there, and the stepsister has a daughter, which has a kid. So he's got multiple ways of coming back into the world, because we found out for Creighton Duke that only way he can be reborn is through a Voorhees, whether they're alive or whatever. So he can go through the child, he can go through the half-sister. as long as it's got blood, Voorhees blood, he can be reborn. It also can be killed, but only by a Voorhees hand with a special dagger, which Creighton carries around with him. But when a Voorhees grabs it, it turns into like a Power Rangers type sword. It's really long, and that's supposed to be, you gotta stab it in his chest, and it's gonna kill him for good. For good. I'm kind of glossing over a lot of the movie because it's very long, for an hour or 84 minutes or whatever, hour and a half, almost hour and a half. It's really long to me because even though the kills can only do so much, but if you're watching the unrated version, you get to see them. If you watch the rated version, you don't get to see them because it kind of makes it not as fun, I guess, to not see the good graphic kills in the the rated version. So that was kind of the one I was watching. It made it really long, really boring for me because it always like show him stab it and then you go just hear him scream. But anyway, it all culminates with Jason coming back. His sister, which is a lot of playback to the Halloween 2. You know how they found out Jamie is the sister to Michael. Well, that's what it felt like to me in this one, that they felt like they were kind of cheating here with the writing. But I heard it was written in 4 days, and you can really tell by the storyline how stupid it goes. It wasn't very well written. And this was brought back to us, produced by Sean S. Cunningham, which directed the first one. He's producing this one. So again, the tagline says, the one that brought you the first brings you the last, because it plays into the Final Friday name and stuff. But anyway, you could tell his hands off. He must have really hands off on this movie because it wasn't very good at all. Anyway, it culminates for Jason going back to the Voorhees house. We find out there's a Voorhees house out there. I guess he had to live somewhere when he was a child, when he was living with his mother. And he goes in there and the half sister is dead, and she's somehow in the basement. He is in a police officer's body, and they cut the police officer's body because he's trying to put the creature comes out of his mouth, and it goes into other people's mouths, and that's how he transfers it. He's trying to stick it into the kid so he can be reborn. Well, they cut his head off. The main character of main character is Stephen Freeman, played by Johnny D. LeMay, and he cuts his head off, and the thing comes out of his neck, and it's like a little creature with no tail. It's got like a tail and little hands, and he runs down the basement and finds the dead Voorhees. So no matter if she's dead or not, he can insert himself into her and become alive. And when he becomes alive, he still has the mask on. I mean, he busts through her body, and somehow the mask stays on. So I guess it's like a birth with a baby coming out and having a mask on its face. It's going to be hard for a woman to produce a mask when she's having a baby. So this is kind of like the same thing, but kind of weird psycho horror way. But he comes out and he looks just like he did before they blew him up. How that happens, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't understand that part either. Well, it was kind of like, oh my God, what are they doing here? They even, did they even try to make sense with this movie? But we'll put all logic to bed here and just go with the fact that he's reborn. And the first 5 minutes of the movie we see him, and the last 5 minutes we're going to see him, Jason, that is. And he's fighting the Steven character, and he's beating his butt up. And then the girlfriend or the mother of the Steven characters has the baby Voorhees, gets the dagger, jumps over him, and stabs it into his chest. And all of a sudden, all them lights and everything, a big shining light comes over his head, and these big hands come out of the ground, and they grab him, and they jerk him down into the dirt. I guess they're taking him to hell. That's why Jason goes to hell. So we have the Steven character and the big guess it'd be Jason's niece. Leaving with the baby, his great niece, or anyhow, and they're like leaving in the sunset, and the sun's coming up, and you see the mask, it closes on the mask in the dirt, and you see Freddy Krueger's glove come up and grab the mask and take it down the hill. That sets up Freddy versus Jason, even though it was like 10 years down the line before that happened. So they were like shooting for that as a big crossover because New Line owned Freddy. That was their chance to get this all going for the Freddy versus Jason thing. But there was a bump along the way called Jason 10. But we'll get into that in the next review. But I don't know. Tell me what you thought of this movie. I was really looking forward to it at the time it came out. I was expecting not to be great, but I didn't expect that they weren't going to put Jason in a lot. And I understand they were trying to breathe life into the franchise. But they went about, the story was, like I said, was written in 4 days. How they expect to have a good script by doing that? And I know most Friday the 13th don't have good scripts, but Friday the 13th and Friday 2 and 3, at least they were coherent. This one was not very coherent to me. The kills were awesome. I'm not taking anything away from the kills. The kills were mega great, especially in the unrated edition. The other edition, not so good. And I understand people, it holds a special place in their heart. And I've talked to Movie Freak, and he says he understands the problems with the movie, but it was one of the first horror films he ever saw, and so I give him a pass. Like movies I've liked, like Crawl, you end up liking them just because of the what happened to you during that time, how your age and the first time you ever watched a movie, and that makes you like a movie just for the sentimental value alone, and it being Jason and everything. So I understand his play on it, and I understand other people like it. And I have no problem with you liking this movie. I just didn't like it. I love the kills. I wish Jason would have been in it more. Kane would have been great to, keep on going through the whole movie. If he'd just done all the kills himself, I probably would have gave it higher marks, even though the story was horrible. I didn't like all the stuff they did in the story. So tell me what you think. Tell me when you watched it, did you like it? Did you think it was going in the right direction with the New Line Cinema? I would love to hear anything you have to say about it. I will not judge you if you do like it or dislike it. It's up to you. It's everybody's opinion's different, and that's why on the Badraven channel we promote that anybody can like anything. It's their opinion. We're just going to go on to the coming soon is the next installment would be Jason 10, which is one of mine and Andrew's guilty pleasures, even though it's very low budget by New Line. And we'll go into that one now on the next review of the marathon review with Badraven and the Friday 13th marathon. So come back for that one. Definitely, we definitely want you to see that. So I just want to say first, remember that the Patreon account is out there, and if you want to become an Elite Bad Bird, just $1 a month, and you too can be an Elite Bad Bird. And I'll put your name at the end of the video, say your name at the end of the videos. From here on out, I'll send you this band here that says, support the Badraven, watch the Badraven support the Badraven, and become a member of the flock. Great. I'll send it to you as a free of charge for becoming a $1 a month member of the Elite Bad Birds. I know there's somebody out there that's going to join, and I'm just hoping for the day to come out. But a big smile on the Badraven's face. And also remember, the Badraven is your friend, and we appreciate you coming here and watching our videos. But we're going to wrap this up, and we'll talk at you later, and we'll let you go. And goodbye.